Hi guys, so I guess I'm back. Luckily for you all, my plans got cancelled this evening, which means I've got time to sit and do this. Hopefully my voice holds up. I'm sure a few of you have seen that I've had pneumonia the past couple of weeks. I've been in and out of hospital again. I have got a bit of a cough and a dodgy voice, but just ignore it. You'll still be able to see the crochet, and hopefully you'll still be able to understand me, so we'll be fine. Just one thing to point out, as always, the colours of the yarn that you can see on the screen there, they are correct in my light for some strange reason. As always with the lights above that I use for the filming, they look strange. So, excuse me, here we go already. This is square number 5 and it's the Tangled Rose Bouquet. And we're using a candy pink, a shell pink, and then the lime from issue 3, I believe that was. It's another granny square, similar to one of the ones that we've done before, which I think was the Jungle Book one. I'm sure we'll be absolutely fine with this one, but I suppose let's get into it. As always, I do have to say, for almost like a disclaimer, I guess, that I can't give you the full pattern over camera, purely because of copyright purposes, so I do apologise. And also, if you see the gross thing on my side of my finger, I managed to slice part of my finger off during the week, so yeah, just kindly ignore that. I'll try to keep it hidden because it looks gross. Okay, so we're starting off with the candy pink, and we're going to make a slip knot, which I'm sure you all know how to do by now. So that one there. And put it on your 4mm hook, which is the one that we've used for all the other issues. From there, we're going to chain 4. So bring your yarn over the back and towards the front, and then pull your loop through, and you've got your 1 chain. We're going to do that 3 more times. 1, 2, 3. We're then going to join with a slip stitch into the first chain. So our first chain is this stitch here. So go into that one and pull a loop through, and then pull your loop straight through, and that's your foundation ring done. So for the first round, we're going to chain 2. 1, 2, and then it says that we need to treble 2 together. So I'll show you how to do this, and we're going to use the center of the ring that we've just made to put our hook through, and use that as a guide rather than going into a stitch. So yarn over from the back to the front, and we're then going to put our hook in through that hole into the center of the ring and ring up a loop. We've now got 3 loops on our hook. From here, sorry, I'm getting all tangled. From here, yarn over again and pull through 2. So you've got 2 loops on the hook. You then want to yarn over again, go back in through that loop and pull up another one. So you've got 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 of them. And now we've got 3 loops left on the hook. So from here, we're then going to yarn over and go through all 3. And that is apparently the first tip of our petal. From here, we then need to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We now need to treble 3 together. So we're going to yarn over and go into that center again. Pull up a loop, yarn over and pull for the first 2. So we've got 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over, back in through and pull another loop. Sorry, I'm getting all tangled again. Yarn over and pull through another 2, so we've got 3 here, and then we're going to yarn over it again, back in through that loop and pull another loop, yarn over and pull through 2. So we're left with 4 loops on our hook here, and then yarn over and pull through them all. And you will be able to see here that you've got 1, 2 and 3 trebles, I guess. So 1 there, 2 and 3. Can you see them there? And then we need to repeat that process as many times as it says in the book for round 1. So we've already done it once, and it says how many more times you have to do that. And I'll meet you back here when you've done it. So I now have done that as many times as it says to do it in the book. And then the final instruction is to chain another 3. From here, we're then going to slip stitch to the top of the first stitch that we did, so just over here. So these stitches here, if I can get that in focus, are the chains that we made, and then this one here is the first stitch that we've done. So we need to slip stitch into that V just at the top there. So go in through, pull up a loop, and then pull through. And if I pull a long tail on that one, I can show you this one. It is slightly curving. I say slightly, it's really curling up, so it makes me feel like it's wrong, but I'm sure it's fine, and that's how it's supposed to look, and it'll all work out fine in the end, as it normally does. But from here, we need to fasten off the pink because we're going to change colours. So as we're changing colours, we just need to fasten this one off as we have done in the past. So I'm just going to tighten that loop back up around my hook, and then I'm going to cut enough here so that we've got ends to thread in once we're finished with the square. I know I'm notorious for doing them too short, so I'll go a little bit longer this time. Okay, so once you've cut that one, loop it over and just pull it through that loop, and then we can tighten it. And we need to swap over now to the lime coloured yarn. So I've got that one here. Just going to move my other pink out the way. Okay, so standard procedure for joining on our yarn colours. Make yourself a slip knot, and then it says that we need to join the yarn in any of the corner gaps. So by corner gaps, I'm presuming it means this one here or this one here, where they're big enough to kind of put our finger through. I'm going to aim to go for up here, where we have just tied off, because as you know from the other videos, I just like to make sure that all of my loose ends are in the same place. So I'm going to put my hook through this gap and then pick up my slip knot and put it on my hook and pull the 2 ends so it's tight, and then just pull that one through the gap. So it should look like this now. From here, we need to chain 3. So I'm going to pick up my working yarn. No, that's my non. So I want this one. And 1, 2, and 3. From here, we're going to do 2 trebles into this space. So yarn over, go in through that space and pick up a loop, so you've got 3 on the hook, yarn over again, pull through 2, yarn over again and pull through your last 2, do that again, Okay, so I know the book doesn't call for it, but from looking at the pictures, I can see that after doing those treble stitches, they've definitely chained one. And if we don't chain one and go straight into here for our next stitch, everything's going to start folding up. So definitely need to chain one, and I will keep consistent with that with the rest of the pattern around this flower, just to make sure that you don't miss it out. So we will be doing things slightly different to what the book says here. So from here, we want to go into the next gap, and we're doing 3 trebles into this hole here. So there's 1, and then 2 and 3. From here it says to chain 2, so 1, 2, and then to do another 3 trebles into that same gap. Sorry, that was quite unfocused then. So do another 3 trebles into here. So 1, 2, 3. I'm then going to chain 1 again, and just repeat what we've just done into the next gap. So that will be 1 treble, 2 treble, 3 treble, chain 2, 1 and 2, and then another 3 trebles, 1, 2, and 3. So as we've done before, chain 1 here, and then we're going to do the same thing into the last gap just here. So 3 trebles, 2 chains, 3 trebles, 1, 2, 3, 2 chains, 1, 2, and then another 3 trebles, 1, 2, and 3. Just to make up for all those extra gaps that I've made sort of here, here, and here, those extra chains. If you chain 1 now, and from there we are going to do our last 3 trebles in this corner space because we've only done 3. So if we do 3 into here, 1, 2, and 3, and now everything should be equal going all the way around. Chain 2, 1, 2, because that's going to be just exactly like your corner chains on every one that you've done so far. And from there we're going to join with a slip stitch into the 3rd chain and then fasten off because we're going to change colours again. So our 3rd chain, these are our chain stitches here from where we started with this colour. So you've got 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to go in through here. pull up a loop, pull through to slip stitch, and then I'm just going to cut the yarn and thread that through as we did with the pink. So once fastened off, what we've done should resemble something like this. And now we want to take our third colour, which is the shell pink, and we're going to join it in the same way as we have done before. So this is where I fastened off. I'm going to use the same corner. So I'm going to put my hook through this space, and I've already made a slip knot in the pink. So I'm going to put that on my hook and pull it tight, and then just pull that one through the gap. And from here we're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. So from here we're pretty much repeating the same pattern as before, going all the way around. So we just need to do another 2 trebles into this corner space. 1 and 2. And then before we go across a gap, I'm going to chain 1 again to make sure that our square doesn't ravel up. We're going to do 3 chains into this gap here, where we've created that chain to make sure that there's a gap there. So 1, 2, 3. 1 second, my yarn is tangled. And then I'm going to chain 1 again. And then back to doing the same in the corners of 3 trebles, 2 chains, and another 3 trebles. So 1 treble, 2 treble, 3 treble, chain 2, 1, 2, and another 3 trebles. 1, 2, 3. I'm then going to chain 1 and do another 3 trebles in this center portion here. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, 3 trebles into the next corner. 1, 2. I apologise, my video time ran out. So there's 3 here in this corner that I've just done. Another 2 chains, and then another 3 trebles. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, and then do your 3 trebles into the center. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1 again, and then we're going in to the corner again. So 3 trebles, 1, 2, and 3, 2 chains, 1, 2, and then another 3 trebles, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1, 3 trebles into the center, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1 again, and now as before we've done 3 here but only 3 trebles, so we need to do another 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then chain 2 to make up for the corner, and then we're going to slip stitch again into the 3rd chain. So these, sorry, focus, these are your chains. Just count up 3 till you get to the top, which is this one here, and we'll just slip stitch that one in, and we should have something that resembles this, which actually, when I saw it on the front of the book, I thought the outside colour was white, and I wasn't too impressed. I felt it quite looked like the Jungle Book one, but with the light pink there, I think it looks really, really pretty. It doesn't on camera because the colours are so different, but in person, this is actually really pretty, and I'm not normally a granny square, and by granny square I mean these type of designs. I'm not normally a granny square person. I think it can look quite old-fashioned, but I do like the colours of this one. From here, now that we have done that slip stitch, you can cut your yarn again. So I'm just going to do that off camera. So now I've done that, I can wrap that one over and pull it through. Make sure that one's as tight as possible. Because of all our colour changes, this is going to be one like the previous Jungle Book one, where we've got loads and loads of ends to weave in, as shown on my previous videos. Don't just cut them, because it can come unravelled and you just end up having to start all over again, or it just looks a mess. And make sure you go back to the Jungle Book video. I think it's number 3, I can't be sure, because that one will show you or remind you how to thread your ends in. I won't go doing that again. So we need a certain amount of these, and again, I'm not going to tell you over camera because we know that I can't say everything that we need to do over the camera. So make these as many times as you need to, and I guess I will be back to show you how to join them all together. I'll see you shortly. So I finished my 4 squares as described in the book. I actually genuinely can't believe how long they took. This has got to be the square that has taken the longest so far, probably because of all the sewing of the ends that you've got to do in afterwards. That was really, really tedious. I didn't enjoy that at all. I'm hoping that you will have watched this all the way through before doing your square. If not, I'm really sorry. But just try to remember to cut the ends when you fasten off as long as possible, because we're going to use these to sew the rest of them together. I'm going to show you how to do that now. So on our first squares that we're doing, we want to make sure that that piece of yarn is in the top left-hand corner. We also want it in the top left-hand corner for the next one. So if you turn that one over, so you've got the back facing you, and then put it on top the other one so you've got your right sides facing, and now your working yarn's up here on the top right corner, and we're going to be sewing along this direction. So I'm just going to thread my darning needle, as I've shown you before. Fold it over, sorry that was off camera, then going through. Okay, I'll adjust my camera so you can see me sewing this a bit better. So I've got my needle all threaded and I've got my 2 squares facing here. The main problem I've seen when these squares are finished, I don't know if you've noticed, but when you've got the 4 squares all together, once you put the border on, I'll see if I can make an example to show you. People aren't, because it's not straight, you end up with a dip in the middle. So we need to make sure as much as possible that when we're sewing them together, we're really pulling up those corners and making sure that there's a straight line there so it doesn't look as dipped in the middle, if that makes sense. And I'll show you how to do that. So we've got our needle threaded here, and obviously this is in the corner. From here, if you go into that corner stitch and go through, and then go into the corner of your bit behind and go through and pull that tight, and just make sure that you go in through that one again, just to make sure it's really secure, because then when we open it up, we've then almost got that straight line there. From here, we're going to do what they call over sewing in the book, and it's really simple. Just go in through and take your V, and then go in through your V of your back one as well, just like you would if you were crocheting. So again, you got your V there and your next V, and we're just going to go all the way along like that. So I'll meet you when you get to the end. I'm really near the end, and again we want to make sure we get this as square as possible. So rather than just finishing just, you know, around the end, for example, we really want to get into that corner stitch and make sure those are as tight as possible, because we want to form that edge. So I'm going to go into there twice. And then hopefully, when we open it up, we've got as much as a straight line as possible. You can still see there's a bit of a dip there. There's definitely a huge dip by my little finger there on the bottom, but we'll hopefully be able to correct that as much as possible when we do the border. So there's the first one done. I'm just going to fasten that one off because we don't need this. And then I'll show you how to attach the next one. So there's our first 2, and I've wound that end in again, just exactly as I would when doing the squares. So I've hidden it in amongst here. And the next one we're going to do is to use this end here. So to put a square up here. So for the next one, make sure that you have got your working yarn in the top right, because that will enable us to join it to the 4th square when we add that one. For now, we are going to place this one here. We've got our thread here, so it will go over this way. So we're putting those 2 together. So you can turn them round and thread your needle again. And I'm just going to join those in exactly the same ways which I just showed you. Again, trying to get into that corner as much as possible to make sure that we end up with a smoother line on that edge. So there's 2 in there. And then I'm going to go all the way along, so I'll meet you when you've done it. So my 3 now look like this, and we've got that yarn here. We're now going to join the next one, and make sure that the thread is in the bottom right corner this time. For now, we want to fold that one over this way, and then we're going to sew along from here to here, and I'll meet you back in a second. So we've got all 4 joined together now, and you can see here there's just one more gap left to go, so we can fold these back over and then use that thread on this side just to go from here to the middle. When you get to the middle, you might notice that there's almost a gap in the centre. So with the final piece of thread, when you get to the end here, what I would do is then join in to every corner stitch and pull it tight before you fasten it off. And that way it will just bring all of the centre together. So I'll meet you back here shortly. So there's mine all finished. As you can see, it's not perfectly square. We've still got those slight dips in the middle like there. But you can just almost manipulate them and lift them up a bit. And now look, that looks almost square. Or almost straight, I should say. Just go around and just pull them up before we get on to... This one's the worst. Before we get on to doing the edge. And there, that almost looks so much better now. It's almost perfect, I would say. There we go. So let's get on with doing the border. So for the border, we're back to using the lime. Again, I've already gone ahead and made a slip knot, which you will see very shortly here. And we're going to join the yarn to any corner of our square that we've done. So we'll go back in through one of these corner spaces, put your slip knot on your hook, pull it tight, and then pull it up through. From here, just chain 1 so it's secure. We're then going to follow a pattern of making 1 half treble in each treble and 2 half trebles in each 2 chain space. And then something different in the corners again, which sounds very, very confusing, but hopefully you'll be able to follow it with me. So at each corner, we want to work 2 half trebles, 2 chains, and then 2 half trebles again. So if it's 2 half trebles we need, I'm just going to do 2 chains. So we did the 1, I'm just going to do 1 more, and then that counts as our first half treble. And then we will yarn over, go in through and pull up a loop, yarn over again, and pull all the way through, and that will count as our 2 trebles there. Can you see? We've almost got like 2 stitches there. And then for each of the next one, we're going to do 1 half treble into each treble. So as we go along, we've got 1 stitch here, and then the next, until we get to a chain space. And you can see here, we've come to a chain space. So we're going to do 2 half trebles into each of the chain space. So just go under. Rather than going into a stitch, we're just going under that way. And then we can go back into doing the single ones into these stitches. I'll just go all the way along with you until the corner so you can see what to do in the corner. Oh, I've just split my yarn, bear with me. So another 2 in here. It's quite therapeutic doing this, I find, because it's really just one stitch, really simple. You don't have to concentrate as much. So now we've got to the centre of the square, I'm going to put one half treble into this corner here, like that, because it doesn't tell you how to do this. I'm then, as I was saying before, we need to almost pull up that middle piece to make sure that it's straight. So I am going to go in through there, just find a hole if you can, just push it through and do a half treble there. And then our opposite corner, you can see we've got a gap here. Going to go in through there as well. And then that almost looks quite straight. I'll show you more at the end. From here, carry on going into your stitches. I'm trying to go quite quickly here because I'm worried about running out of recording times. So just bear with me. I will get there as quick as I can so I can show you what to do on the corner space. Another 2 in this gap. Then 1, 2. So into the corner, we're going to do 1 half treble, 2 half trebles, chain 2, 1 and 2, and then another 2 half trebles, 1 and 2. And now we've successfully completed a turn and we can go along this way. So go all the way around your square, and then when you get to your final corner, back along here, I'll show you what you need to do. So I've been all the way around and I'm back at the start. You know that we've already done the 2 trebles in here, but every corner, the 2 half trebles in here, but every corner needs 4 half trebles and 2 chains. So we've done 2, we're just going to do 2 more. Do your 2 chains, and then slip stitch to the first stitch. So once you fasten that one off, that is that one complete. You can see here that my edges are quite straight. Hopefully yours are as well. But again, that is something that we can correct if you decide to block them at the end. I know I'll be doing mine because this one's quite wonky and quite flimsy. So I will be doing that. I hope this video has helped you. It would really mean a lot to me if you could subscribe. Also leave a like down below at the bottom of the video down here. Also leave a comment as well, because that way it helps me to make more videos because I know they're being watched. And it's obviously just a small price to pay for making sure that I keep up with the videos. So well done. That's square 5, I think. My mind's gone. Square 5 complete. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.